Welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Hello and welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. I'm Bill. This is Fitzy. I'll get that right one day. I'm messing it up already. I took a week off, and I don't know where I'm pointing.
Bill, how you feeling, by the way?
Much better. It's just allergies now. Last week it was like, I don't know, like flu-like symptoms or something. Could have been COVID, but I doubt it. But if I blow my nose in the middle of the show, I'll be sure to mute. So I apologize already if I don't do that. I don't have one of those cough buttons like they do on broadcasts. Or sneeze into the mic or something. Yeah. Hey, you know, Fitzy, before we get going, I forgot about something. I believe you and I are tied in the rankings, in the standings of the Fantasy Rugby League. I mean, you're ahead by a few points. Got the same record. I'm just saying.
I think we play each other this week, too.
Is it this week?
I
should probably pay attention to my roster, see who I'm... Anyway, big news, Fitzy. I believe you're excited about this, too. We have a big new sponsor. We have a new sponsor for the show. And let's talk about this because I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's a company called QuickTap. And QuickTap is the only sports video and analytics platform designed specifically for rugby. I wish it was designed for me to get S's out and pronounce words better, but I'm getting there. If you like...
Not there yet.
I know. I'm getting one day. If you're like, most competitive coaches or players, you've already been reviewing film to improve your team and yourself, prep for your opponents, and just get yourself better. But, how much time does that take? It takes a ton of time. And how much insight are you really getting out of 2 hours of unstructured YouTube video? So that's where QuickTap comes in. QuickTap makes it easy to categorize video and collect stats as you watch film. With those stats and clips, QuickTap's video review and analytics capabilities help cut the wasted time from your off-field review. So you can get straight into the insight you need to play better rugby and get a leg up on your opponents. So do this. Check out getquicktap.com and use the offer code Happy Hour. That's one word, Happy Hour, when signing up for a free trial, which also will get you 10% off your annual subscription when you apply for that, which I really think you will. It's a great program. And also, QuickTap will sweeten the deal by tracking your first match for you. So QuickTap, the most powerful way to beat your opponents before ever setting foot on the pitch. So that's exciting, right? I think it's a big deal. And I looked into this company a little bit. Obviously we don't want to just take anyone on. I really think they have a great product. And I definitely could have used them years ago when I was playing. Who knows? Could have been an Eagle.
Can they break down VHS tapes, Bill? Can they do that?
High 8, maybe. But you know what? You know who else is really into data and stats?
Oh, this is a good segue.
Mm-hmm. We're good at this. We've got the MLR Stats Data Guru. Now, I keep forgetting if we made him that or not. I don't know if he's actually out there running around saying he's a guru, but we're going to do it anyway. And I thought for sure he'd be wearing a Leafs jersey, but instead he's wearing a Rugby Canada jersey. So let's all welcome James Deeley. Hey, James.
Bill, John. That transition was brilliant, Bill. Good for you.
All right, let's call it. That's a great show. Good night, everybody.
No, I could have worn a Leafs jersey, I suppose, but I thought I'd represent after the Canadian women's big Pacific 4 win the weekend on USA Happy Hour, just to rub it in a little bit more.
Okay, we're done, Bill. I think we got to get our guest.
I'm already regretting this. No, that was a great performance by the Canadian women. Good performance by the Leafs last night too against my Bruins, but that's okay. I'm dreading it because the Bruins lost after being up 3-1 last year. However, Toronto's never actually beaten them in the playoffs. So
it's gonna go to Game 7 and Boston will win. Come on, we've seen this crap before.
My Caps got swept by the Rangers, so yeah. Anyhow.
Oh, we lasted longer than the Caps then.
All right, James. Fitzy, let's get into it. We don't have a lot of time to talk to James, so let's talk about this. James, jumping in, individual players. Talk about players who have stood out for you so far in the first half of this season.
Well, I think it's good starting point this week to start with Frank LaCour for the Utah Warriors. He was named as the Player of the Week for this week for round 9, and earned his 4th first 15 selection, which leads the league. Now he's the only player with 4.
Wow.
There's a few with 3, but he has 4. He is he's basically on a try every 2 games pace. He has 115 tackles, so he's in the top. I think
Wow.
based on, what is it, my post today, actually, so I should probably get that up. He is 4th. Oh, sorry, he's 3rd in the league on that, and he has gained over 400 meters with ball in hand, and that's meters gained, not meters ran. So that's going forwards, not just running.
Left and right.
Yeah, he is really, really effective for Utah Warriors. Probably one of their best pickups of the off season. Another one for the Utah Warriors who's absolute standout, who I love watching, is Michael Manson, who is tearing it up. He's only played 6 games. He has scored 6 tries, and he has 785 meters gained.
Wow.
That he has 23 tackles, but that's because he's a back 3. He doesn't get that many tackles, but he is an absolute machine. He is tearing it up.
James, he's one of the fastest players in the league, right? Wasn't he a sprinter in New Zealand or something?
Yeah, he was. I think it was Julio on one of the broadcasts said he could do like a 10.7, 100 meters or something. That's absolutely insane for a rugby player, considering this guy is nearly 200 pounds as well. Yeah. I'd struggle to do that in my car, that's for sure. But this guy is absolutely tearing it up. And I really think he is one of the reasons, probably coupled with Frank LaCour and maybe Dylan Nell as well, just throw him in, is part of the reason why Utah have sort of steadied their ship in the last few weeks.
And on Dylan Nell, real quick, he had 30 plus tackles in a game a couple weeks ago. Is that right?
Yeah, he had 30 tackles. He's the second player in MLR history to hit 30 tackles in a game. Behind Matt Heaton, who hit 32, I think, in 2022. So
wow,
that is an incredible. And funnily enough, Frank LaCour in that game had 28 tackles as well. So that would have been I would have highlighted that performance anyway, but Dylan Nell outdid it. So for a team that's sort of all about the running rugby, they can tackle. They definitely can tackle this year. I'll move away from Utah, I suppose. I've given them enough praise. Just to your Free Jacks, Bill, maybe. I think Wayne Vanderbank is having an absolutely outstanding season for them. He's over 100 tackles as well. He's in the top 10 tacklers, for MLR. He is also just under 600 meters gained. He's got 5 tries in 7 games. He is really stepping up to the gap left by LaRue Milan, when he was missing the first few weeks. He's sort of competing for one of those center slots with like Ben Lesage, who's kind of been alternating. I mean, it's a great problem to have for the Free Jacks to have at least 3 really effective centers in Lesage, Milan, and Wayne Vanderbank. And I just really think he's come on leaps and bounds in the last season. Just highlighting it here, he has in 2023 he had 640 meters gained and 113 tackles. This year already, he's pretty much at that same level with 3 more tries. He's having an absolute career year, and I think early candidate for one of the players of the year, in my opinion. Now I want to go to a few more players on teams that might not get as much glory. So I wanted to highlight Tarangatira Waitokia for Anthem, who has been. He's only played. Well, he's started 6 games so far. He scored 3 tries. He's the joint leading Anthem try scorer. He also has 560 meters gained. He is the standout offensive weapon for Anthem, I think, at the minute. Standout offensive. Did I say defensive? No, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
He's the standout offensive weapon, and I just want to highlight him. It's a shame I can't see him in an Arrows jersey this year, but, I'm going to see him on the pitch anyway. And who else do I have? I just wanted to highlight as well for the Sabercats, who are having a phenomenal season so far, Ronan Murphy, who I think has really stepped into the absence of Gideon Van Wyk. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but he hasn't played much this season. Murphy has. He's an effective tackler. Can find a try line seemingly at will. He scored 2 tries this weekend in that shutout of the Legion. I think it's worth highlighting him as possibly a USA Eagle in the future.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Have you been keeping an eye on, speaking of, Nate Augspurger's up next after later in the show. His teammate, what's his name? Noah
Brown?
Winger. Yes. He's come on pretty strong.
He has. I think he's maybe. Yeah, I'd say he's probably in an early call for Rookie of the Year. I think he was on your list this morning, John.
Yeah, he was. I had him at the top with like Junior Gaffa and Ty Aljabori, Albert O'Shannessy. So there's 3 Anthem players there. I think those are like the top 4, in my opinion, of players that have had some type of impact, whether it's tries, meters, hands, tackles, or something like that.
O'Shannessy is a monster tackler as well. I don't think he's played the last few weeks. I know they had a bye, but he's still a monster tackler. He's been in the top 10 for most of the season.
And how about Seth Smith, youngest scorer, right? Try scorer in MLR history?
The youngest player becomes the youngest try scorer, and now the youngest player selected in the first 15. Like he's having a great year. I'm not sure. Was he drafted?
No, he's been academy. He came up through the academy system.
Does that count then, or is the Rookie of the Year only open to draftees?
Oh, that's a good point. He was not drafted. He was an academy player right out of high school. So
because I
should
the
count.
academy system. It should.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
You're going to penalize him for actually doing what we really want the players to do, is come through the system.
Yeah, I know, right? Seems a bit harsh, but there you go.
Yeah. A couple more things for you before we let you go in a couple minutes here. Let's talk about scoring overall, James, in the league. Is scoring up or down this year? And is that based on offense or defense? I guess is defense better if scoring's down? That kind of deal.
Well, I don't know if it sort of felt like a lot of, at least in the first few weeks, a lot of teams were struggling to score tries. Seattle was struggling to get a try bonus point, even though they were winning. The Free Jacks missed a couple of try bonus points that I think last year they probably would have got pretty easily. But it seems to kind of be correcting itself now. It feels like it anyway. There was a 33-0 shutout. I mean, that's not going to help San Diego Legion scoring, but it's going to help the Sabercats. They scored 5 tries. It seems like most of the time there's a try bonus point in a game now. There was something Brian Ray tweeted about, actually, that there's a lot. Like the 2024 season is on for the most sanctions ever, especially compared to last season.
Oh yeah,
and that means that teams are down or teams have players suspended or something, which increases the likelihood that you're going to be scored against because you have less players. Mm-hmm. So that could factor into it, but I don't think it's particularly, I don't think it's like, oh, it's up by 50% or anything like that. Mm. Although saying that, do you guys know which team has scored the most points so far this season?
I thought I did. I missed that one. It could have been Chicago after scoring 50-plus points 2 straight weeks.
I'm going to go with, is it New England?
The Dallas Jackals.
The Dallas Jackals.
Oh, wow.
They're so fun to watch because they score a lot, but they also give up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it does help. They scored nearly 70 points against Anthem, but I will tell you, Chicago's on 254, New England's on 256, and Dallas is on 264. So it's all pretty close. But it is just like before this year, definitely, I wouldn't have thought that Dallas were a high-scoring team.
Would you consider Dallas the most improved so far from the last season?
Easily, yeah. I saw that on your thing this morning as well, John, and I agreed with that. That was easy decision. They are the most improved team by a country mile, and probably the most fun team to watch because of what you said, John. They score a lot, but they give up a lot.
John, you want to finish it off? One last question.
I guess James, and looking over kind of whether individual or team data, is there maybe a team that maybe is underperforming expectations from the first half, and maybe you can anticipate them kind of getting back on track in the second half, or maybe the other way? Is there a team that's overperforming that maybe is going to have a correction here in the second half?
Well, I would have said, Houston's leading the league. They have been pretty strong the last few years. I don't think they're underperforming or overperforming. I think this is just kind of them perfecting their kind of configuration.
Yeah.
But the obvious answer is the San Diego Legion. They were 15-1 last year. They got to the final. Didn't win the final, obviously, but they lost 1 game in the entire regular season. It's the best season in MLR history. And this year, they just got shut out for their first time ever in, hold on, I've got it here, in 91 games. The first time they got shut out.
Yeah.
And, they've had a few kind of really close victories. They've had a few. They struggled to score, like I mentioned earlier. One of the teams that did have struggled to score at times. They scraped past, I think it was Miami. They scraped past Dallas. Now, I don't think that's anything really to do with the caliber of talent. It's just about the turnover, I think, from last year. I think they lost 5 or 6 players to Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Which tells you about the caliber of players they had last season. I just think it's that they've taken the biggest step back from last season.
Is Matt Guiteau the answer?
Well, I guess we'll find out. It sure sounds like he's going to play this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs or anything because of this 14 thing we've got. But, they might if Utah keep going. Because a couple of weeks ago, I would have said Utah were the biggest sort of underperformers. But now they've really kind of turned that around.
Yeah.
Well, James, thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on today. Great insight in these players and these teams. Again, how can people follow you?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram at MLR Stats, and I'm on Twitter. It's just my personal Twitter, which is at Jamdelay, Jamdelay.
All right, check them out. Great stuff, and I know we keep an eye on your stuff as well. So you're actually half of our research every time we do a show. We'll start cutting you in some of the cash we're bringing in. All right, James, have a great night. Have a great night. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, Bill. Cheers, John.
Cheers. All right, here we go. Good suggestions of players to keep an eye on if you're not familiar with some of these players. Check them out. Rewind this pod. Write it down. Check them out. Who are the players that you've been keeping an eye on there, Fitzy? I know we see players through fantasy rugby, whatever else, but are there others maybe that he didn't mention?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many to choose from, and I think the top of my list for mid-season MVP, I've got a couple of free jacks at the top of the list: Reese McDonald and Jason Patros. McDonald, the Red Rocket, I believe is what you guys call him up there. I'm sorry, that try that he scored last week,
phenomenal.
He kicked it down the field. First he caught it, and then he kicked it down the field. It was like, okay, yeah, the fullback for LA is just waiting for it to kind of go out. It doesn't look like it was going to go out, but okay, he should be keeping track. He's just going to tap it down, right? No, pew, boom, in goes.
Everyone gave up on it.
Never gave up on it. Was committed the entire time. Looks like he may have hurt himself. He had to come off. It sounds like it's not that serious. Maybe he'll miss a week or so, but he, in my opinion, has just played outwardly this year. Jason Patros just steady. There's a couple of games where he had some long scoring tries where it was funny to see him get down the field. Those are two guys, and that's hard for me to say, right? I'm a Glory DC fan, but I got to give props where I can. Mac Mason for Seattle in his return, right?
Phenomenal.
He left MLR. Now he's back. He's so steady off the tee. Just a great operator out there, leading Seattle to 7 wins. I got 2 more players. Cap Deagle, of course, Dylan Fawcett for Chicago. When he is on and playing well, that team goes. And it's good to see. He had a hat trick, right, a couple weeks ago.
He did.
Yeah. So him and another hooker, high scoring, Deovold Kotze for Dallas, right? He set the MLR try scoring record. What did he have, 5 or 6? That's incredible. So those are a couple of players. And then there's a bunch more, but those are the top, say, 5 or 6 that I think are in the running for midseason MVP.
Yeah, I'm with you too. Reese topped the list for me. Having a chance to see him play in person a number of times. Unassuming player. He's not a big dude. But he's fast. He's doing Pete Rose type stuff. That play in LA is Pete Rose stuff right there. Yeah. It's lay the body on the line and do what needs to be done. And you're right. That whole play was him. Caught the ball, kicked the ball, chased the ball. Everyone else gave up on it except for him. And his speed is underrated, I think. He's so quick. Another great play of Reese's was a couple weeks ago. I don't think it was Seattle. I think it was the match before that. It was NOLA. And he kept up with that ball. I don't believe he kicked it, but he kept up with the ball, and it took a bad bounce over Dougie Fife's head. And Reese was in the right place, caught it, all in one motion, dove in for a try. He's creating spectacular tries for New England. New England.
People can say, that was lucky it bounced to him. But I think you make your luck out on the field if you're hustling and you're running and you're committing to things. Ball's going to have some favorable bounces to you if you put yourself in position to score, and that's what's been happening 4 weeks, and certainly New England benefit of that.
Yeah, like baseball terms, you can't hit it out unless you swing the bat, and that's him. That he's getting in that position for that stuff to happen. He's in the right places. I do feel, let's talk about DC and Free Jacks just for a second here. Our teams. I'm worried about the Free Jacks just because if Reese is out longer, it's going to be bad because they've already lost Conradi and Poland, two big players from last year. So I hope they can pick it up. I don't see them as dominant as they were last year, but again, it's halfway through the season. Their coaching staff is phenomenal with their play calls. They're coaching the team. I don't see any other team really, other than Seattle in that game last week against New England or the week prior, that couldn't took them out of the game. They also had really nice set plays off of scrum downs, lineups, or whatever else. Not a lot of teams can pull that stuff off. What's the deal with DC right now?
Yeah, DC. Well, week 10 now. They're going to welcome back from suspension their captain, Jamison Schultz, who suspended for 5 weeks because of the play that happened with Billy Meeks, the home game for DC. DC has had a very up and down season. 2 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, both draws at home. They haven't won a home game yet they haven't won a game yet in their new venue. So some challenges there. They've got a very big match against the Miami Sharks at home on Saturday night. I talked with Alistair Kirschpool about it on Glorious Rugby Podcast. I think we both called it a must-win game because they need to start stacking up W's, and they need to start getting table points. Old Glory DC was fortunate to get 2 table points in that Utah match last Friday. I mean, they were down big early. Utah was crazy at the end of that game there. I think it was Joe Mano who kicked the ball to touch thinking the game was over. It wasn't over yet. Old Glory DC was able to get the line out they wanted. Ensuing Mall, Martin Vaca replacement dots down. That's the 4th try. That's the bonus point. And then it got him within 7. So, and then the game ended. So Old Glory was very fortunate to get 2 table points. But this is a conference game for Old Glory, and they've got to win. They got to get a win at home. They've got to beat the Sharks. Sharks are expansion team. They've been playing okay, but it's a team that Old Glory should beat if they've got aspirations to get back to the Eastern Conference final like they did last year.
You're right, and I don't think Miami is going to be as much of a pushover as I think they'd like them to be. Like you said, they got some good talent in that team.
MLR Dow, Felipe Echeverri, Ben Donasso, Marcos Young, they've got some players there.
And there's some other big matches this weekend too, not just DC, Miami, but like I said, New England, Chicago. I think the top 2 teams in the East right now. This is a big match. I think Chicago's going to be tough for New England. New England won by I think 5 in the first matchup, 4 or 5. We'll see what this is like. It's in New England. It is a tough crowd to play in front of. We'll see how they do. Another big match is San Diego and Dallas. Just talked about how many points Dallas is scoring, and San Diego I think is, I don't know, I wouldn't say fluttering, maybe underperforming.
Yeah.
So those are 2 big matches.
Yeah. Chicago, the last time they played New England, they were still doing they hadn't made the fly half switch. Billy Meeks was still playing fly half. They moved him back to center. Since Chicago's done that, right, where Carlisi's back at fly half, Billy Meeks is back at center, they've scored 50 points in 2 straight games. You can say, oh, wow, the offense is clicking. You got to look at who the opponents were. So it was RFCLA and then Anthem. And not to dog both the squads, but, those are both bottom dwellers right now and in their respective conferences. So this will be a true test for whether Chicago's offense really is humming now, if they can go into New England and beat them there at Veterans Memorial Stadium. And New England has lost twice there this year, once to Old Glory. So, we'll see.
Yeah, and some players have been standing out for me. Look at teams like Seattle. Connor Mooneyhan's back.
Yes.
And he played well against New England in that his first minutes. I had a great opportunity to talk to him after the match, and he's so excited to be back.
Yeah.
Maybe he's getting putting his hat in for a potential spot for USA side. I know he hasn't played in a while, so it's not like he's going to be chosen right away, but he looks fit. He's eager, ready to go. Like I said, Mac Mason playing phenomenal for him. Charles Elton is a tackling machine for Seattle. I'm worried about Seattle. I think they're to me the top team out of the West. Nothing against Houston. Just the way they played in that match was just such a different team than I'm seeing out of, say, DC or NOLA coming through New England, that kind of stuff. They're very and Reichert is playing the way he should be playing. Dominating. I'd love to see him in a USA uniform again. Who knows?
Yeah. I think Seattle's just steady. like a professional, methodical approach. They don't get down. They don't, even if they're trailing, like that Chicago match where I think they were down by a big number and came back and won. Right? Seattle just doesn't panic. They've got Devon Rousseau, their center fullback from Russia. He's been fun to watch. JP Smith, great scrum half. A lot of interesting pieces there. I mean, of course, and it's funny because like they doing all of this with kind of new wings, right? Last year, Futi was phenomenal. And, he's fighting for minutes with out of nowhere, it seems like, Jade Stealing, right? I think I pronounced his name correctly. He's been playing really well. So they've got so many like pieces down there. They almost have too much. It's like it's got to be hard to get on that match day 23 each week.
Oh, of course. And let's talk about Anthem real quick. One of the expansion teams, an extreme expansion team at the last second. We mentioned earlier Davis still out for 5 matches.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm a little worried about this team, not necessarily for the MLR side, but for, say, USA, because it seems like they're panicking a little bit. They brought in New Zealand fly half. They're bringing in more non-USA qualified players. I'm curious why that is. Is that because they don't have the depth right now, or is it let's help out these USA players get better by bringing in these other more experienced players? I'm hoping it's that and not rat players.
Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. But, the mission is true, right? Like Scott Lawrence and the crew down there, we know they've got the North Star about developing young players, bringing them up, and this is a great opportunity for them to do that in MLR. I don't think they'll skew too far from that path, but at the same time, injury's going to happen, right, as you mentioned, and maybe you do bring a couple of international players in, just kind of raise maybe the level of intensity and skill and stuff or whatever in practices and games, just to I don't know, and shoot, maybe they're they have pride, they want to win a game, so they don't want to go 0-16 in MLR, so.
What if they can? I haven't seen. I forget if they played like say Atlanta yet or not. But they're scoring points. I mean, they're not getting shut out too much. I mean, the Hounds put on 59 points on them, but they scored 26 against Chicago. So they can score points. I guess it just matters. I don't know.
They got. I mean, as the commenters or chatters here, they got a tough one against Seattle. It'll be interesting to see if Seattle coming off a bye, if they do try out all of their starters, or if they kind of mix in some players, right? Maybe additional rest for some players. So it'll be interesting to see, but should be a bonus point win for Seattle. Hey, if Anthem were to surprise everyone and knock them down, wouldn't that be wild? But
oh, geez. Yeah. Well, I've seen odder things happen. Seattle doesn't take them serious, let's say. And they come out firing and they score some points. I mean, they got a really good coach. And Ariam, I can't say his name. Alama. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm so good at names usually.
well, one player that I wanted to bring up who we joked around about making sure his pronunciation of his name was right when he came on a couple of weeks ago, I think is on the, I think you know where I'm going with this, is on the Eagles radar. Houston Sabercats, fly half fullback, Davey Kutzer, right? Like he's one of my favorite players in MLR, just watching him play. Not a big guy, but just skills, can make people miss, can play all over the back line, fullback and fly half. So that versatility is awesome. He's had a good year. He was someone who I almost put in that midseason MVP list because I just think he's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I think he's great at fullback. Is he qualified for USA yet? Or is that now or soon?
He's got close. Yeah.
And where does he fit in? I mean, he's not playing a lot of fly half. AJ Alatuma's playing there quite often, but they do switch minutes together. When he's not playing fly half, he's playing fullback, and he's playing phenomenal fullback. And I look at the USA depth. We got like Mitch Wilson has played fullback. Who else is playing fullback? So I think if he's qualified, the way he's playing, I can imagine he's got a really great chance of getting some minutes this year with all these international matches coming up.
Yeah, I'd pencil him in the 10 jersey.
Yeah. Well, no depth there either. AJ McGinty, he's playing phenomenal. Hopefully he stays healthy. And obviously if he's on the team, he's playing.
Yep.
But then after that, we saw a couple others that kind of faded away. Maybe a player in Chicago and wherever else. So we'll see. Another player I want to bring up is Mikey Te'o. 30 tries. Only 2 other players have scored 30 tries in MLR. And he just got that. So it's good to see him. I'm not sure. I haven't watched him enough this year, so I'm not certain if he's really getting back to form. I feel like he kind of fell out of form for a couple of years, maybe with Utah, whatever. But maybe San Diego's helping his game, you know?
Yeah, Utah, I think maybe wobbly. They're definitely underperforming. You used that word earlier. So, and I don't think Taylor's probably playing the way he would like, and he's probably fighting for minutes a little bit, but he has been coming on a little bit in the last couple of weeks. You know, to your point, he scored his 30th try. So, yeah, maybe he's coming on at the right time.
And overall, you know, let's just talk about top teams. I mean, we look at who's in the standings, and we see, you know, New England and Chicago, the top two in the East, and we see in the West is what, Houston and Seattle. You know, are those the clear 4 top teams?
Yeah. Yes. yes. You know, like for definitely Seattle and Houston, I think they've separated themselves from the pack in the West. Certainly Dallas and Utah are going to fight, right? In San Diego, you know, maybe they turn it on. In the Eastern Conference, I think it's a little more clear right now based on how teams are playing. New England's outperforming everyone, you know, injury concerns. Chicago's getting on track. And then it's that middle pack of, okay, is it going to be NOLA? Is it going to be DC? Is it going to be Miami? You know, so we'll see. And, you know, 4 teams from each conference make it. And I know some people don't like that, but I don't think it's over yet in the Eastern Conference. I'll just put it that way.
Well, that's good to know. You know what I was thinking with James on earlier? I wonder if, like, he's working with a lot of really good stats. All right, like he's finding these stats himself. Obviously, he's working hard for these stats, data he's working with. I wonder if, you know, if we had those kinds of stats available when we played. I mean, heck, you just played a few weeks ago. Or a couple weeks ago. Was it like a touch match or something? Did you?
No, man. I played a full tackle 15s. It was an alumni game from my college.
That's right. Okay. Well, what if you had, you know, data to work with? Yeah. Okay, footage of these young. Were you playing against the young guys?
Yeah. We were playing the current college team. Yeah.
So I'm sure there's video of these guys. So, I mean, you probably would have killed them, or at least not hurt yourself jumping over a ruck. If you watch footage, I mean, you would have scored. You would have found out if they scored more off of lineouts.
Yeah.
You know, do they do any set plays off of scrum downs?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you could have been MVP if you had the right data.
Well, the data in the video would have showed that I should have made one more pass to my teammate out on the wing who was wide open, but I wanted to run with it. If I would have just made one more pass, I would have gotten a try assist, but that did not happen.
Well, I got something for you that can help you out. We have it. We have an in. It's called Quick Tap. All right. I'm not saying, again, you would have scored 4 tries, but at least you would have had a better idea of what your opponents are up to and running certain plays. So, Quick Tap. All right. This is what you need. This is what you all need, everyone out there listening. It is the only sports video and analytics platform designed specifically for rugby, for us, coaches, players, staff, all levels. All right. B sides, college sides, pro sides, whatever. QuickTap makes it easy to categorize video and collect stats as you watch film. With those stats and, you know, clips, QuickTap's video review and analytics capabilities help cut the wasted time from your off-field review so you can get straight to the insight you need to play better rugby and get a leg up on your opponent. So, again, please visit getquicktap.com and use the offer code Happy Hour. That's one word, Happy Hour. And when signing up for a free trial, which you'll get 10% off your annual subscription by using Happy Hour. And QuickTap will sweeten the deal by tracking your first match for you. QuickTap, the most powerful way to beat your opponents before ever setting foot on the pitch. All right, you know who I'm sure has used data and analytics throughout his career, internationally, Major League Rugby, on his own. You know, I'm sure he's using something, whether it's through the teams or whatever else. I'm sure. So we're going to have to ask him a little bit about this in a minute. So he's waiting. He just joined us. Let's bring him in now. Let's welcome Chicago Hounds wing Nate Augspurger. Hey, Nate.
Yo, what's going on, guys? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great. It's been the weather's been warm here, so I'm a happy man.
It's chilly here. Chicago's warm? What?
It's been nice. It's been really nice. Still windy, though.
Yeah. Can't avoid that. So the last time we had you on the show, it was audio only, and you were in Spain during the Vila International Cup. By the way, congrats on that again. What a great way to end the international season.
Yeah, it was really phenomenal. It was even better, a cherry on top to get to send a guy like Nate Brakeley off the right
Yeah.
way. Guy who had an amazing career, was a part of a lot of the highs and definitely a few lows in there. But man, that guy was awesome, and yeah, just a really confidence booster for our team.
Nice. And I forget which. I think it was against New England early in the season. You got walloped pretty well, and I was really worried that you'd be out for a while. You missed one game. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good, Bill. You know, by the grace of God, I was able to take a decent knockout. Went through it was a 12-day protocol because of the way that I went down, and I was able to pass with flying colors. And you know, I haven't been told by my wife yet that I'm behaving or acting any differently yet. So I probably shouldn't joke about that. But no, I'm blessed, man. I'm doing really good, and yeah, it's the Hounds were really coming together. We're starting to hit our stride, so it's been fun to be a part of it.
All right, let's jump right into the Hounds. Coming off a bye week, second place in the East, winner of 3 straights. You've got to be feeling good about the team's performance of late.
Yeah, and I think it comes off the back of a lot of different lineups, and you know, we got some pretty crazy depth up there in the forwards. Our back line is, you know, everybody's so valuable. We can actually play guys in different positions and stuff. So just finding out what the best connections are for us, and really just focusing on improving has been great, and it's been helping us with our success. So we've been enjoying it out there, though, and I think everybody, definitely our fans, can see that we're having a good time out there, and it's obviously fun when you're scoring points.
Yeah, of course, right. And Nate, you know, right, you know, the match right before the bye against LA, you had a hat trick, you know, almost 150 meters gained. Full disclosure, I do a fantasy. Bill and I do this fantasy MLR thing. I drafted you on my team.
Yeah. Okay.
Nate, I hate to admit this. I did not start you in that, and I got burned. I don't know what I was thinking. I lost out on like 30 points. You had like one of the highest scoring all week, but back to the question.
Are you going to ask him to do it again this weekend, Fitzy?
You're back in the starting lineup, Nate, so I need some 3 tries from you. But were you guys are humming, right? Were you down about having a bye rather than, you know, riding that momentum, riding that wave, like getting the game going? Were you guys like, we're revved up and now we got to cool down?
No, I thought the bye week came in great time, and I do think there's something to what you've said there, John. Like we have a lot of momentum. You don't want to break that thing, but at the same time, I think you know, if you look at our season, we had a lot of real lows. You know, the loss to Seattle, the loss to New England, both at home. We're hurt, man. We're hurt. So I think we're really happy to show that we could turn the season around in our pretty much second quarter of the season and get those 3 wins. And the bye week came at a really good time. And it's been just a true joy to get back out there on the field with all the boys. And so, yeah, it's been a fun week to get back into it.
Yeah. I guess, you know, how would you categorize Chicago's style of play?
Physical, based on effort. We got guys on our team who get through a lot of work in a game, and we train that way. So that's definitely a part of our ethos, and I think set piece. You know, in some of the games that we struggled, we might have been beaten one area or another, whether it was line out or scrums. But our forwards, man, they've just soldiered up. They continue to make the right adjustments, and our line out's been going great. Our scrums are really solid, and obviously that's going to help us win matches. So,
it seems like sorry, Fitzy. It seems like wings are really involved in your offense. Not that any other team doesn't, but it seems like yours, for some reason, are much more. And perhaps it's because of your experience, or you know, Noah Brown's. You know, this kid coming in, you know, his doing well. Is that true? I mean, do you try to push it to the wings a little more?
Yeah, we got to have a high work rate in our back 3. So we cover a lot of space, which hopefully does lead to us getting the ball more, getting better opportunities. And then there's guys like Noah Brown who just have really good instinct, but also a lot of athleticism, a lot of speed. You know, he's not going to be an easy guy to beat on attack or defense. So, you know, you add those things together, and the boys try and feed us the ball, which is awesome. And obviously that's all you want as a winger, is to just get your hands on that ball enough time to have an impact on the game. So we work really hard for it, though. I think our team, the back three work really hard.
And overall speaking, halfway through the season, what grade would you give the team's performance so far?
I'll say probably B-. I think we all are aware that we haven't reached anywhere near the ceiling. Obviously, we're doing better now, but if you look at, the first 8 games, 4-3-1, the one tie probably could have been one in the loss column or one in the win column. That's just the way the Old Glory game kind of went. But yeah, if we're looking at ourselves right now, we all know we got more to go. And we have a lot more to show. So I'd say B-.
I think that's fair. I gave you guys a grade of a B, so you're a harsher grade on yourself than I was. But so obviously big test coming up here, week 10, Sunday afternoon against the Free Jacks. You mentioned earlier last time you all played the Free Jacks. It was a close loss, 17-22. What do you think your squad needs to do differently this time to take down the defending champs?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that much different. We've gotten a lot better at what we've been trying to achieve, John. So that's helped us a lot. And I think it's always one of those things. You look at the opposition, but you gotta be looking at yourself and making sure that your team's all on the same page and going in the right direction. I think the staff has done a great job of keeping us focused on that. I know Billy, Luke White, those guys do a great job in the leadership department of keeping boys focused on us. So, we're really excited for the occasion to get to go into New England. And they're, even a bit different beasts from what they were last year to the way that they're playing this year. So we know that's kind of our measuring stick, and we're going to go in there and play Hounds rugby as best as we can.
And talk about Chicago fans or the stadium. Now, of course, you're used to San Diego's crowd, which is phenomenal. Talk about Chicago. What kind of facility, what kind of crowd atmosphere is there?
Well, the facility's great. It's the old Toyota Park at SeatGeek Stadium. It's where the championship was. I think our broadcast looks great on the Rugby Network or, wherever it's being played. I think the broadcast is really good, and our fans are just so awesome. And one of my favorite moments was when I walked out for the first home game before that New England game, and we were coming down the tunnel, and we have a really short walk to go down the tunnel, but the field's right there. You don't actually see the fans, but you can just hear them. So you're looking out on the field, green grass, a little bit of whatever. You're going to run out and do the anthem, and all you heard was just people going, ooh, 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 ooh. And they were just barking and for me, I just love that, and I really cherish that moment. But we got rowdy fans, and our fans are really excited about the team. And, we already have a lot of firsts this year because of how last year went and just the struggles that they went through. So, we've got more wins than they had last year. We're putting up more points than they did last year. I think the people who've supported the team from last season are starting to get the word out. And I think our fans and our community is definitely growing this year. And you can see it. You can see it by just coming out to a match, and you can see the level of, the level of effort that's going into it behind the scenes from people in the Hounds franchise is just it's crazy, Shout out to my boy Will Maggie.
Have they had a bring your dog to a game day yet or anything like that? I mean, it seems to make sense.
That's actually obviously not this weekend, but next weekend. So, yeah, bringing dogs. I won't be bringing mine though. He's a bit too noisy for me. I don't need to hear him all game in the stands. A bit much for my wife to handle, but that should be a really cool event. We have a dog that runs out on the field to give the game ball before every game, and that's a nice touch. It's pretty fun.
I wonder what the over-under is going to be of how many dogs actually jump out of the crowd after the ball or something.
Your guess is as good as mine, yeah. Just don't tackle me.
No.
Nate, I wanted to go back real quickly because, it was surprising for fans' perspective to see Nate on the Chicago Hounds, right? Not to dig too much into the turbulence of the offseason, but from what we were able to gather, you had originally signed with New York, right? And that was going to be an announcement, and then New York. Obviously, weren't able to re-enter the league. And then you were a dispersal to New Orleans, so you were going to go down to NOLA, but then you got traded to Chicago. I mean, all in the whirlwind of like a week or so. Like, I guess talk us through what was going on, or like what you knew, and I guess like how you felt by it, like potentially from one coast to another, to New Orleans and now Chicago.
Yeah, it was a wild time. It was a wild time, especially for me and my wife, because we knew that the move to New York. My wife is from New York City, born and raised. So that was a big deal for me with being on USA tours and living the lifestyle that I do. To get closer to her family would have been a big thing for us. But God really does have a plan with the way things worked out. There's no bad blood between Legion and myself and the way things happened. And, it was really funny when I was in the dispersal and NOLA drafted me. It was like, literally minutes later, it was like, all right, no, I haven't spoken to NOLA. Sweet. Chicago's going to come get me. And it literally worked out like that easy. Wow. So I was really fortunate in that right too, because I kind of had a backup plan before the dispersal draft, and things played out in my favor to the point where I could actually do what I wanted to do, which was return to the Midwest, which, not selfishly, but obviously it working out in my favor to be closer to my family. So my parents, my brother, my niece and nephew, his wife, like they've come out to 2 games already this season, and my mom's coming down for Mother's Day, so can't put a price on getting the opportunity to be with family and be a bit closer to enjoy those moments and those memories too.
If I've learned anything about folks who are from the Midwest, they have no problem jumping in a car and driving like 8-9 hours to get where they need to go. Is that just like a Midwest thing?
It is. Me and my wife drove to New York City for our bye week last week, 12 hours if you use the toll road. So
wow.
Yeah, it's in our blood. My mom's pretty proud that she has passed that down to me and my brother. We like to do road trips. It's pretty fun.
Can you talk at all about your decision to not stay in San Diego and why you were looking at New York?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was on a 1-year contract. Like that was my last year, the 2023 season. So there's always going to be dialogue about what's happening next. And, yeah, I loved being in San Diego. I loved every bit of it. I love the weather. I love the fans. Still got a big chunk of my heart. I'd be lying if I didn't say I caught the Legion games, whenever I can on the weekends and stuff, and watch all my old teammates. So, it really came down to me, my family, and what we wanted to achieve from a financial standpoint, from being invested in the game from a long time. And, it ended up working out that the path towards Chicago was going to be more beneficial for me and my wife, and that's probably like the most PC way of talking about it. But at the same time, it's this league's a business. It's always going to be like that, even though, man, so much love to all the people out in San Diego and what that was for me in my career. And I'm just very grateful that I'm getting the opportunity to build something new at this stage of my career with the Chicago Hounds. So I really cherish it, regardless. And I'm really happy with how things have played out with the decision. So,
and you have no shortage of friends, international USA teammates on either of these teams. Even if you end up in NOLA, you got a couple down there. Yeah. And just thinking back to the summer, I was on the field in Chicago after the match, and had a chance to say hello to a bunch, Brocky and a few others, say hello to them. I saw you, and the look in your face was, don't talk to me. So I walked away. Actually, Corbs had that look in his face. I said, I'm not going anywhere near him. He's going to probably punch me if I talk to him. But speaking of these teammates, I mean, I can imagine New York draw as well, besides the city, what would be like Dylan Fawcett, a bunch of these players, and now he's in Chicago. You got Bryce Campbell at center, him. Let's talk about your teammates. You're not old by any means, but you're not a young kid now. You and Dylan are playing like you guys are 24 years old. You guys are scoring, especially lately. Dylan had 3 tries, and you're like, I can do that too.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy, Bill.
Yeah.
No, and then we got Nick McCarthy's playing scrum half for us. Michael Basker's playing scrum half and wing for us. Luke White, yeah, just some really good guys on the team, and I love that. And that was also, you know, a big part of my decision was I was going to be able to be around more USA guys, which is great, and that's always a
Yeah.
goal of mine, you know, is to play with my USA teammates. But you know, it just lifts the overall level, the professionalism of our team. You know, especially anybody who's gone through the last 6 months with Scotty Lawrence, let alone, you know, how well we've how much we've learned and how much more disciplined we've come as like an American team in preparation for tours and international matches and stuff. It was always going to leak in to the professional scene. So we're super fortunate in that, right? You know, and we got other international players on our team too that add a super amount of value. So I've been really enjoying getting to play with those guys, and you know, it used to be always playing against them. It's fun to be on the same team in this professional season.
And I'm glad you brought up Scott Lawrence and the men's Eagles. Let's go there for a sec. I mean, it's potentially shaping up to be a really busy summer for you. I'm assuming you're going to be raising your hand for international duties there, July and then into August, September.
Yep, putting my hand up as high as I can, man. Just doing whatever I can to be a part of that team for sure.
Yeah. Because, I mean, so, like, let's start, like, July, first week of July, right? In Chicago, Romania, and then a week later, Scotland in D.C. And, I mean, everyone knows the last time Scotland came to the U.S., that was, you know, a big win for the men's Eagles down there in Houston, I guess. And then you've got the Pacific Nations Cup, the start of that, right? Canada, I'm jumping around here, end of August, and then Japan in September. I mean, those 4 big matches there, I guess, are – you're in season with MLR, but you know camps will be coming together for the men's Eagles. But how much preparation are the guys talking about the upcoming tours and matches, or what does prep look like, say for that? I know we're still a few months away.
Yeah. I mean, admin size, you know, Scott and Oscar Alvarez, coaching staff are doing their work behind the scenes, right, and staying in touch. I think they drive connection. I've said that before on this show, but also, you know, you guys have gotten to hear Scott and a few of the other Eagles. So we're definitely staying connected and getting ready for what we're going to be up against. And really, this is like a dream come true to me. You know, the opportunity to represent for the Eagles, to play around 23, 24 games a year at a high level is, you know, something that eight years ago we didn't even have. You know, you wouldn't really get the opportunity to play that much unless you were overseas. So for me, it's a dream come true. And then when you start listing off some of the teams that we're going to play, like a Scotland, like a Japan, you know, Canada is always a great rivalry. And, you know, that's our border battle. We got to cherish every moment that we get to play those guys. It's just exciting. You know, it's just really exciting. I don't think there needs to be any other motivation when it comes to representing for your country. But if there is any, sometimes when you get these moments to go up against tier 1 nations or play against this kind of competition, like the PNC, what it's going to have to offer over the years, you got to be excited, you know? So I think guys are thrilled. The connections are already happening. And as we get closer to that game, we'll have to have a bit more of a strategy to it as well. But for now, we're just trying to be Eagles on and off the field in whatever team that we're on. Show the reason why we're there. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody if one of our guys gets picked to be Eagles. You know, if you get picked to be an Eagle, it should speak a lot of volume.
And speaking of guys, young guys, I mentioned Noah Brown earlier. Willis Goodwin is coming in, one of the academy players. You know, Noah mentioned you and a couple of players as, you know, one of the reasons for his success right now. Can you talk about Noah's playing, what he brings to the team?
Yeah, I mean, Noah's just a dog. Like you know, his dad was a UFC fighter, but like you can already just kind of see it in him, the way that he can grind and graft. You know, you have to be like that to play high level rugby. Like if you just going off talent alone and you aren't willing to put in like the really hard, dirty work, then you know you're going to struggle to reach your potential. But like Noah can do that, and I think that's like a great baseline to have as a young, talented player. is like, all right, this dude's going to put in max effort all the time and like be really intended, like, really intent in what he's doing. So I love that. And he makes it really easy because he's an awesome guy. He's super humble. He wants to win. He's super competitive. We do a lot of tracking drills at the end. Our Berkey, Adrian Carlise is definitely one guy that everybody's got a target on his back for one-on-one stepping drills. It's a South African in him. He's just got that.
Yeah.
He's got those moves. But yeah, Noah adds a lot of value because it really does lift. If you want to call it the old guys or the veteran guys, just when you got someone like him that's helping push the team forward and giving us a higher ceiling, then you're like, all right, yeah, we're all behind you. And so, and that's my job as well, is to make sure that I want to be someone who helps get the most out of any teammate, and especially the younger ones. So Noah and Willis has been awesome too. I'm really excited for him to get the opportunity to be with us for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He works extremely hard. He's got a lot of potential. So hopefully we can foster that and continue to grow players like Noah and Willis.
Now, did Noah get faster after he bleached his hair blonde?
You always do.
Were you? I think you did the same thing, right?
I've done it. You always get faster. Either that or you got to shave your face. A.G. McGinty messaged me straight away. Before some of the international matches, he'll want me to shave my face because I've scored tries with a bare face.
Yeah.
So he always is like, "Oh, you look great, man." And I'm like, so I shaved my face and I scored my first try of the year and got the hat trick last week, and he had to message me, it's shaving your face. It is pretty funny. Crack up.
A couple more questions before we let you go. I want to go back to Scott Lawrence for a second. And I guess it's a difficult question maybe for you to answer. I know you can't speak for the players, but Scott has mentioned many times, playing time is important as far as selected to camp for USA. I don't know, maybe in your opinion, does that weigh heavily on players, say in MLR? Because we see some players that would normally be in the U.S. uniform, but now they're suspended, say, 5 games or 6 games or whatever, or they're just not getting the minutes that they want in their team. Is that, I don't know, maybe through your experience, not that you've had to deal with that, but is that something they worry about?
I think so, and I think not in an unfair way.
Yeah.
I think more of like a motivation. There's a lot of different ways to uphold standards, and for us, it's Scott's drew a line in the sand that you got to be playing minutes in order to be even in the right physical peak, mental peak, readiness for international rugby, and I think that's all right, and I think guys embrace it, and I think some guys are probably going to fall victim to it at times as well. Which is kind of the nature of competitive sport, high level sport. Scott does talk about we want the best in the world, and there's chance, there's injury, there's all different kinds of things that play factors into that. And so if someone doesn't make it because of minutes, or someone doesn't make it because of times, it definitely doesn't mean that they're not going to ever be an Eagle, or it doesn't mean they can't be an Eagle. But it does matter in the context of we're getting ready for a tier 1 nation in July, and he wants us to be as physically and mentally prepared as possible. And so yeah, I think it would weigh heavy on some guys for sure, but I think it comes with the territory, and as we would tell ourselves in the locker room, embrace it, keep moving forward, it's out of your control kind of thing. All you can do is make the most out of the minutes that you have, carry yourself the right way in the locker room, amongst your coaches, amongst your staff, like all those things matter to making a quality Eagle and a quality player.
Well, Nate, man, it's been a great time talking and actually seeing each other this time. You've been on before with just audio. I'm glad it worked out, and we're really excited to see how Chicago does. I mean, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to get to the match this weekend. I would love a chance to see you in person, but good luck. I mean, I want you guys to succeed, if I can get that word out, succeed.
No, I appreciate it, Bill. Thanks. And it's been a pleasure to actually have a clean feed and see you guys and stuff. Man, that was frustrating in Spain, but no, I appreciate you having me back on, guys. Anytime.
Didn't we blame that on David Anu? Wasn't it his fault, Fitzy?
Yeah,
Wasn't he the reason why?
We blamed it on him.
Using all the Wi-Fi.
All right, Nate. Take care, and we'll catch up again soon.
All right. All the best, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Always fun, man. Good guy. Him
Yeah.
him is. I mean, they're all great guys, but he, Ryan Mattias, a bunch of those guys are just. You just know that they just bleed the love for this game and USA, which is so fun to see. All right. What do you think? We're going to win it all this year, right? USA, 13-0 or something like that.
Bill, one game at a time. One game at a time. One game at a time.
Coach.
Start with Romania. One game at a time.
Okay, coach. All right, let's call it a night. Great time. Two good guests. Please, if you missed part of this, go back. The podcast will release tomorrow, Thursday. You can also go back and watch the YouTube video as well. And also, we are very excited to announce, if you missed it earlier, we do have a brand new sponsor of the show called Quick Tap. Get that right. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. But check out getquicktap.com for more information. Also, use Happy Hour, all one word, as an offer code, and you'll receive 10% off your annual subscription. And QuickTap will sweeten the deal by tracking your first game for you. QuickTap is the most powerful way to beat your opponents before ever setting foot on the pitch again. Again, that's getquicktap.com and use the offer code Happy Hour. Fitzy, good work. We'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Bill.